not to come back. Tell them not to come back. Do you hear me? Tell them not to come back.
Hey, howdy, hey, awesome people of the internet, Wolfman47- here, back with another vlog to talk about the multiverse, which I think I haven't done in quite a long time, because the whole thing with the multiverse is that any time a franchise establishes a multiverse, you have to sort of try and understand, and it gets difficult to explain everything. So yeah. But I'm very pleased to say that this time we're going to be talking about one of the multiverses that kind of established its multiverse with a film rather than in comic books that then adapted to screen, etc., etc. So this is definitely new territory. But no, I'm happy to do that. So you probably may not remember this film, but I'll try and explain it best I can. So Cloverfield. So this film was a found footage film directed by Matt Reeves, produced by J.J. Abrams, starring a cast of people you probably will have seen in other things. And the film is a found footage monster horror film where this big monster arrives on Earth, and in the midst of a sort of party of sorts, these people are trying to get out from the monster, and then the monster destroys them and everything, and yada yada yada. You get the idea with that. The first film has started a franchise, which led into two further films. So the first of which was 10 Cloverfield Lane, which is the only which I've not seen at the time of doing this vlog, so I do apologise. This one also produced by J.J. Abrams and directed by and I'm hoping I pronounced this right, Dan Trachtenberg, who I've never heard of. And then this was followed by the Cloverfield Paradox, which is the film that established the multiverse, kind of, sort of. And then there was also talk that the people behind Cloverfield were kind of thinking that A Quiet Place, that trilogy of films, would have been seen as part of the Cloverfield franchise, but ultimately it worked as a standalone film, and for the best, really, because it does work better as a standalone film, and for what it is. So yeah, anyway, so to talk about the multiverse, it's a bit of an interesting concept, so I'm just gonna once again read this from Google and try to understand it. So the Cloverfield franchise operates on a multiverse concept where seemingly standalone films, so Cloverfield, 10 Cloverfield Lane and Cloverfield Paradox, as well as potential future entries, where seemingly standalone films are linked by dimensional risk caused by an experiment in the Cloverfield Paradox, introducing monsters and aliens across different Earths and timelines. These events unleash creatures like the original giant monster in the first film, aliens and demons into various dimensions, creating an anthology of interconnected cosmic horror through individual films, often focused on isolated survival stories. Well, it is what it is. So how the multiverse works. So we got this thing called the Shepherd Accelerator, which is a device on a Cloverfield station, which is seen in the Cloverfield Paradox, which destabilizes reality, opening portals between dimensions. Yeah, we're all too familiar with portals at this point, so yeah. Interdimensional chaos. So this experiment unleashes creatures and armies from different realities onto each other's Earths. an anthology format. So so obviously when you get an anthology franchise, every film, episode of a TV show, every TV show, whatever, in the otherwise big franchise, they are all completely different things, but do have the sort of common elements, concepts, and usually feature the same writers, cast, crew, and everything, although there may be some exceptions. But anyway, so each movie presents a different facet of this chaos with distinct characters and timelines. So a giant monster in Cloverfield, aliens in 10 Cloverfield Lane, I think. And demons in a potential fourth film, which is meant to be set in World War II. So yeah. So you got the first Cloverfield that has the iconic giant monster attacking New York City, which is basically just a classic alien invasion scenario. 10 Cloverfield Lane, a woman escapes the bunker to find aliens or something worse outside, which is the direct result of the dimensional breaches. And then finally the Cloverfield paradox, which is the central nexus, showing the space station experiments that breaks down dimension barriers, directly causing the other film's events. And a planned sequel set in World War II is meant to sort of feature demon Nazis, fitting into the multiverse theme. Yeah, that's quite a lot to unpack, isn't it? I will admit, from a person that's only ever seen like the very first Cloverfield film. And to be honest, before I was sort of going through what sort of multiverses I'd want to talk about in these sorts of vlogs, Cloverfield was definitely one that I was sort of wondering whether I should or not, because Cloverfield is a film that existed, that had very clever advertising, but ultimately was kind of I guess you could say kind of a mixed bag as to whether you actually like it or not, because found footage films can work, but often because of the whole shaky cam thing and everything, which is of course in the nature of found footage, it can sort of put people off, especially if you're trying to focus on things, but then the camera's just shaking too much that you just want to focus on something, and they just don't make it easy. So yeah. As I understand, 10 Cloverfield Lane is meant to be based on quite literally that address, and obviously Cloverfield Paradox is set in space, so they're all science fiction in some shape or form, and yeah, they are what they are. So yeah, every film feels like a contained monster or sci-fi story, and the Cloverfield Paradox reveals they're all interconnected parts of larger multi-dimensional event, making it a sprawling anthology-style multiverse. And had they included A Quiet Place, I think things would have just been made even more complicated. But it is what it is. So yeah, in my honest opinion, I thought the first, having only ever seen the first film out of these three films, and yeah, with regret, I should have probably watched the other films before talking about it. But anyway, it's fine. The first film was fine. Like it could have been worse, but it was a film that was advertised well to not reveal too much, and obviously it made a lot of money as a result of that. Yeah, it made a lot of money, as did 10 Cloverfield Lane, and as I understand, the Cloverfield Paradox was a Netflix exclusive, but still part of the Paramount brand. Be interested to see where that film ends up now that Paramount has its own streaming platform, and obviously Netflix are in a bidding war against Paramount to buy Warner Brothers, which at the time of us doing this vlog, I actually don't know where that is at the moment. So yeah. But anyway, so I think overall it's an interesting idea, trying to establish a multiverse that's in essence an anthology kind of multiverse, so combining the idea of different scenarios and so forth, but it's basically just trying to combine all sorts of different ideas, settings and so forth, obviously trying to make it as science fiction and fantasy as possible. And unlike other franchises that have their own multiverses, this one actually, it does feel like it's trying is trying to be sort of original idea everywhere it goes, but sort of in keeping with the monster and sci-fi element to it. So yeah. I do like J.J. Abrams' films. I don't think all of his films are great. Like, I really enjoyed his 2 Star Trek films. I enjoyed the first Star Wars film that he did, but to be honest, I think a lot of people really only enjoyed that film and just did not like the others. I think he did Super 8, which I liked, and and other things I've seen him do I've also liked as well. But to be honest, there's like tons of his work that I'm not that particularly keen on. Like I'm just actually reading his Wikipedia page at the moment. So he was in he did Mission Impossible 3. Forgot about that. Whoops. Okay. Right. He did Lost. Yeah, let's not talk about Lost. If you ever want me to do a Let's Talk About Lost video, yeah, forget it. It's not happening because I just never really got into it and never really understood it. Yeah, he only directed 2 episodes and wrote 3. And yeah. But yeah, that's what I've got to say about the multiverse that is the Cloverfield multiverse. I like how it's different to other multiverses, but obviously some multiverses are too similar, and then there's multiverses that are not all that similar, and then I think this is like the most original multiverse because it's the only one that just has sort of a lot of different ideas thrown in, and it's not just a simple concept. Like there's for example, if it was Star Trek, for example, there's like different versions of different characters, different ships and everything in each of the universes, and then you got one, and then there's this where it's just looking at different ideas and not with some similarities, but the main similarity being that it's all sci-fi monster crap in a manner of speaking. So yeah. But yeah, that's what I've got to say about the whole thing to do with Cloverfield. This being my first topical vlog of the year. Topical by which I mean it's on a Thursday. Yeah, hopefully it will get easier to talk about these multiverses as time goes on. And I actually do appreciate the internet's effort in making sure that people know about these multiverses and try and make sense of it to people, because there's just so much stuff that you can get confused by with it all. So yeah, but anyway, so that's what I've got to say about that. Love to hear what you think about the Cloverfield multiverse and also what you think of the films. As I said, I've not seen any of the second or third films, and I also know there's a manga as well, which I think is good because this does kind of have like sort of Japanese sense, because obviously giant monster films are very Japanese kind of thing. I hope I'm not being racist when I say that. But yeah, sound off in the comments, let me know what you think. But other than that, thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you can, please. I do topical vlogs like this every Thursday, gameplay series videos on Monday and Tuesday, and when I say that I mean they are quite literally a series of videos, one video every Monday and Tuesday, with 4 different large games that I'm doing a series on. As I say, I'm doing 4 at the moment. Every Wednesday I usually do a Let's Play video. You all know what those are, and it's just a completely random video game from either my childhood or just a game that I just find obscure or whatever, just do whatever. And the rest of the week I do pretty random videos, so usually videos I've done with friends, which are usually like gameplay videos, gameplay compilations when I've bought a bundle of games, what else, reviews of the latest things that I've seen, and every couple of weeks I do a whole and life vlog where I just talk about how life is at the moment and show you off some items for you. So yeah, and shorts as well. See you in the next one. Peace to you all. And I don't really know the motto of the Cloverfield film, but remember, when you're if you ever try to explore the multiverse, do not let your head get too what I'm trying to say if you're trying to understand the multiverse, make sure you just focus on that and you don't let your head go sideways, because if your head goes sideways while someone's trying to explain the multiverse to you, yeah, you're gonna get confused, you're gonna get complicated and everything, because it's one of the most complicated things to explain, especially with all these different franchises now that are trying to do a multiverse kind of thing. So yeah, alright. Doodles!
Die, monster! You don't belong in this world!